Halloween. As you tell right now, I got a suspension of Vampire Freaks, but that's not gonna let me go my fun, right? Okay. As you see me on another social network, I mention all kinds I'm doing. I'm looking for ghost stories from those who were born in my generation. Born between 1973 and 1979. That continues my project, but here's another aspect I'm looking for. As you go thumb on my blogs, I have a few documentaries up. You have some fun here. I got my Spotify playlist going. I got a few other things on here. I did a write about Richard Matheson to get him carried in high schools. I'm going to show you a little something I have of his I've been reading. Right, the Tabloid Purposes. This book I have in hand. If you've seen the movie Twilight Zone, the movie, the closing story, Richard Matheson wrote this. It's called Nightmare 20,000 Feet. My author from Tabloid 1, Aaron T. Sanders, told me about Richard Matheson's work. I started looking for him. When a journalist said, "You look like Richard Matheson," I go, "Really? I haven't read his work, but I have seen his movies." I go, "Where did you see a comparison?" I went reading his work again. I went to read Nightmare 20,000 Feet first, and read Star Records. And he goes, "Okay, now I see it. I do go places real neighbors like he does." And here's the other author I've been reading too, where I became published. If you heard of Terry Vinson from Tabloid Purposes, this is his collection that gave me a fire in my belly to get published. This collection, it has a very unique trait. It's got a framework story, whereas key characters reading the short stories in the collection. I wanted to do an anthology like this, but I can never time it. And the person I want to do right this is Terry, because he knows how to do this. So what I'm thinking with this anthology, that'll be a framework. What I want to do is so thought-provoking. It's going to have fun with the KJV moment. I'll tell you why. The King James only movement, as Scott Waters told me, they're very delusional. I wonder how they can be that delusional in ways. But they say the King James is the only Bible that's in English. That's an urban myth, dude. Come on. I read horror stories, and I come up with more imaginative stuff like that, and it's scary as hell. And I look at this movement, I go, let's have some fun with it, shall we? As you see my blog, I dissected the movement in very detail. This is like a 4,700 word blog I did, where I pair it with 5 different death punches. Anywhere but here a track. As you see a horror, you can really go into any topic, any subject matter, and make a horror story out of it. Someone said, "You'll never write a dark story again." I go, "No, watch me. Watch me." I have these news stories I'm working on, they're dark as hell. And I have an article out there, which I found, got this as on trial, with one time in Iowa. That was sort of a setup for a story I was going to write called "We Visit Lost Blood." Got this as on trial is on MP 1976. Codex.com. If you heard of my journal and all this journal. Remember, if you always has been online for several years, you probably know about my journal on Diary X. Nightmares and Dreams. Well, it's in a similar vein. But there's a new trait. You see my old articles on there too. The ones are I published on whatever on DeviantArt when he threw me off over alleged bigotry. I'm not really a bigot. I just don't agree with certain things and they see as hatred. I'm not hateful. There's a fine line between hate and openly disagree with. Open disagreement can get you a lot of trouble in some ways because it's not exactly politically correct. So what you see at Richard Matheson's work with Nightmare 20,000 Feet, you see a guy where horror can't happen anywhere. The urban myth he wrote about, which he brought back from World War II, was gremlins. Gremlins is the creatures that live in the engines that rip apart planes. They usually mess around with the engine and try to tear up the circuitry. It's kind of the Bugs Bunny cartoon with the gremlin. I kind of know where we got that from. I go, alright. He must have been in World War II. This is a World War II myth. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that right? Okay. If you read that, you probably caught on this. Richard Matheson brought urban legends to the landscape. So what I'm writing right now is playing out a lot of urban legends, like it did a Passenger. It's not a sequel to Passenger, but ties a Passenger, ties Ghost of Tornado. So keep around and see if when I get this published. Give me some time. It's going to take me a while. I'm working on 2 stories at the same time, which I haven't done this in a while. I've been doing like in-depth blogs, as you noticed. I've been hitting the 3,000, 4,000 word page per blog. That's very unique for me. I haven't done that in-depth in years. Not even with Zanga, I was like that.